Hello, everyone, and welcome to another excitingly high-tech episode of the Atheist Experience. I'm your host, Russell Glasser, and with me today is Martin Wagner. Today is Sunday, December 13th. We are a live call-in public access atheist television show based in Austin, Texas. Thanks to our live internet stream, we take calls from all over the world, but special preference is given to those people calling from inside the Austin area or theists calling from anywhere to disagree with something that we've said. Let's see what we got here. We've already got full lines, and we're going to need them because we were planning to do this interesting thing.
Well, sure, yeah. Guys, this is free phones for 90 minutes, so
okay.
Just...
tell you what, I've got these stories which I will save for later in case it slows down, and, oh, and I probably should have the call screening up. We got Joel in New York.
You're starting out. All right, so let's take him.
Joel, are you there? Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Pretty good. I wish we had warm weather here, but we don't.
I bet.
So.
Yeah.
But I was hoping to call in because I just finished recently reading a couple of Darwin's books. Mm-hmm. And if you're like me, you get irritated when you hear people claiming that Darwin was a racist and he hated black people and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was hoping I could, if it's okay. You have a few instances that I remember from his books where he clearly did not display that sentiment, exactly the opposite.
All right, go for it.
Okay. In the Voyage of the Beagle, for example, he mentioned that in the coastline of South America, there was... I'm getting a reverberation thing. Is there anything I can do about that?
Oh, no, it's back. No, the control room can do something about it now that they know about it.
Thanks for letting us know, but just keep going best you can.
You're just going to have to try to power through a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I understand. No problem. In South America, there was some cliffs, and a group of slaves at one point had ran away and climbed to the top to live. And when they were discovered, they apparently, one of them threw herself off because she didn't want to go back to slavery. And Darwin actually wrote something to the effect of, if a Roman woman had done that a long time ago, we would have called her, a person who loves freedom. But when the slaves do it, we just call them obstinate and stubborn. He related how much he hated Brazil because apparently there was a lot of slavery there and just how much he wanted to leave the country. I can remember him staying with, he had to stay with people nearby on the journey, of course. And he said that there was a very nice black person who was running the house and wouldn't even eat with them, and that really bothered him because he liked the guy so much. The people that claim that I don't think they know what they're talking about.
Well,
you know,
honestly, I would say that the racial views of Darwin would have been complicated because, after all, he lived in the 19th century when everybody was somewhat racist. I think it would be maybe whitewashing the issue to disregard quotes that creationists bring up entirely. Like, what do they say? Like, he uses the word Negro a lot, and he talks about superior races. But one thing I think we can say is that Darwin was unusually progressive for his day. He lobbied a lot for the abolition of slavery, and if you go back and see some of the most admired people in the history of this country, Thomas Jefferson famously owned slaves.
Got them pregnant.
Did other stuff with them, yes.
I'm sorry. I just did the not nice version before you had a chance to cut me off.
Yeah.
I just do that.
But, it's difficult to jump to conclusions about what any one person believed in the light of today's standards, because there's been a lot of stuff going on between then and now. There was the Civil War in America, there was the Civil Rights Movement in the 60s, and Darwin was British, so other stuff happened over there.
Yeah. I think it's overstating the case. A lot of people sort of glibly will say that, it was 150 years ago and everybody was like that back then. No, I think everybody was most emphatically not.
Yes.
Racist or, in the way, certainly views of racial equality, we've become more enlightened and they've evolved down through the years. But the simple fact that there were abolitionist movements and very involved ones, going way back, demonstrates that racism was not just this given among,
it's a bit of a stereotype that everyone back then thought.
Now, it's even abolitionists back then might not have been as tolerant on a personal level of, say, racial equality as we are.
What I like to point out, I always like to, not try to defend one particular person's views, but also in showing that the same view was pretty pervasive. I usually like to bring up a counterexample from the other side to demonstrate that it was across the board. Like, for instance, when I was in that email exchange with Chuck Colson a year ago, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
He brought up the fact that, he claimed that Christians were the people who were mostly behind the abolition of slavery. And I simply pointed out that Christians were some of the main people who were arguing for the continuation of slavery. And there's a famous sermon by a guy named Thornton Stringfellow who wrote all these biblical justifications why black people were naturally ought to remain in a slave state.
Right.
So,
are we talking like the Curse of Ham type stuff, or?
Yeah, something like that.
Along those lines.
A bunch of things. Slavery's all over the Bible.
Right, well, of course. Kill the Canaanites and take the women slaves and, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Right. I think what you'll find is that, particularly in the case of creationists, they're just grasping at any straw they can to discredit evolutionary theory, and you hear a lot of these tortured arguments about how evolution is somehow responsible for racism and genocide and this, that, and the other thing, and, as if it had never occurred before.
Yeah, because Darwin's personal opinions about these things aren't particularly relevant to the way the science is done today. Darwin was just the first guy who brought it up, and there have been a lot of scientists who discovered things who had pretty wacky views on different things.
But,
and even if he was racist, what difference does it make?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it's to his theory. To the to the accuracy of evolution by natural selection.
Certainly.
I think that I'm glad you brought this up, because I think everybody should read Voyage of the Beagle. That's out of all of Darwin's books, that's the one that is the most accessible and I think entertaining to a modern reader, because
it's very interesting.
It's not even so much a science book; it's like one of the great classics of travel writing, and it's very fun to read. I think everybody should pick that one out.
Okay, well, thanks for calling, Joel.
Appreciate it.
Good to hear that you're reading the classics.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care, and thanks for calling, man.
See you later.
Hey, you too. No problem. Thanks for taking my call.
No problem. See you later. Bye.